As most of us are aware, the International Cricket World Cup is going on. Australia had a good win the other day. But 5 days ago, the arch rivals in the World Cup cricket would be Pakistan and India. Not sure whether I can compare it with the Rugby World Cup between England and Australia, maybe. But Pakistan and India were playing 5 days ago. It wasn't played out in India, where our Prime Minister of India comes from. And when the opening batsman of the Pakistani team, when he got out for 49, so that means he didn't make it to half century, he was walking back into the dressing room. And there was this chants of the Indian spectators chanting, Jai Sri Ram, Jai Sri Ram, Jai Sri Ram, which means, Hail Lord Rama, Hail Lord Rama. It was a very painful thing to watch, and I was watching it. It was a very painful thing to watch, that people chanting a particular God's name when in a sports somebody got out. And it reflects what happens in our world these days. Increasingly polarized world we live. And most of the time, the polarization happens based on religion, fueled by religious fundamental ideologies, and also by economic developments. In some countries, polarization happens because of that. The word religion in Latin means religio, which means to rebind, religio. To rebind a community that is torn apart by temperament, ignorance, and institutionalized evil. And instead of that, these days what we see is increased polarization. And a lot of the time, sadly, religion plays into it. And if you look at the United States, it is the tension between a progressive community who wants to bring out change. Then there is a conservative community who really want to hold on to certain beliefs and things. And instead of this tension leading to something new, it makes community people be polarized into two opposite directions. And they become at war with each other. That is exactly what happened to Jesus. Pharisees wanted to trap Jesus. And they got him and asked him a very tricky question. Would you pay tax to Caesar? Or would you say you are allegiance to God? And Jesus immediately knew the trap. The trap was to make Jesus polarized. To make Jesus to take one stand over the other. If he say, I will give tax to the Romans, he is against the Jewish state. He doesn't want the Jewish state to be established. He likes the Roman Empire. He likes the slavery, and he is a traitor. And if he say, I will not pay tax to the Romans, then he is a zealot, a fanatic, who fight for the Jewish state, almost a terrorist who wants the Jewish state to be established. But Jesus very cleverly pointed out a third way. A third way. It's not either or, but rather he points out what image is on the coin. If the image on the coin belongs to Caesar, then give it to him. But then Jesus says, the image I carry is not the image of a Caesar or a particular state or a particular political ideology is the image I carry, that I am created in the image and likeness of God, so I belong to God. And that is the third way Jesus proposed. He does not take sides. And we live in a very divided community because of politics. There was a study done by a university about political polarization. They did a study on a very different communities with different particularity: Brazil, Bangladesh, India, Kenya, Poland, and the United States. And they found that some countries get polarized because of economic development. Other countries get polarized because of religion. And some figures, some divisive figures, political leaders, they use their economic trouble, they use the religious fanaticism in order to fuel and create division and win the electorate. And they get the power. And once there is political polarization, it undermines the judiciary. Even the judiciary is undermined. And to the point, people even choose, I will not let my son marry a Democrat because our family is a Republican. Very polarized. But if you look at Jesus, he always wants a third way. He wants a place where both the black and the white can bring together and make a gray reality. Both either and or can be together and have both and no reality. And it takes an honest engagement with reality. But it takes that we have to all take into our consideration the image we are created. I am not just an Indian. You guys are not coming from Anglo-Saxon background. We are not aboriginals. We are not Greeks. We are not slaves. We are not any defined by ethnic realities, but we are all created in the image and likeness of God. If I have that principle, then the Palestinians and the Israels, the Jews and the Arab can sit together around the table. Instead of going either or, they can come together and look for a third solution. That is why Albert Einstein once said, a problem cannot be solved from the level it was created. It has to elevate to a different level to find a solution to a problem. And what is that third way? It is the third way is very much part of us, deeply ingrained in us. That is the image and likeness of God. What is the image and likeness of God? It is the capacity for critical thinking. It is the capacity for imagination. It is the capacity for creativity. It is the capacity for, I would say, contemplative thinking. This is the image and likeness of God. A capacity for critical thinking, a capacity for imaginative thinking, creative thinking, and contemplative thinking. When I can detach myself from my tribalistic mentality of, no, I want to fight for it. When I can allow my emotions to subside, let my creative thinking with which I am created in the image and likeness of God, when I am able to detach myself from my agenda and can see the image of God in the other, there may be a third way. But it does need the way of the cross, forgiveness, sacrifice, and mercy. So the Christian response to any tension is not taking sides. It's actually the way of the cross. I find it very hard when I see online a lot of Christian evangelical preachers preach about the end of the world because Gaza being distracted. It's just very sad. That is not the way Christ break the cycle of violence. That is not the way Christ break the cycle of polarization, by forgiving on the cross, by giving mercy, by sacrificing, by going beyond pure animalistic behavior. He takes time to think and contemplate and allow the critical thinking where opposites come together, confront it without personal agenda and find a third way. I'll give you a practical example and finish. So I've been going through this struggle personally within me, getting very stressed about going to India. And Yasmin would say, why are you stressed? She likes stress. And all the logistics, I got few assignments due. That tension, few talks to be given. And then, of course, I leave with Father Franco. I come home, I'm tensed. His political ideologies, his way of thinking is so different from me. And then he will always ask me questions. What do you think of this? What do you think of this? What do you think of this? Come on, buddy. Come on, buddy. You there? You dead? And I'm saying, and I haven't been not doing well. Poor him. He doesn't realize what I'm going through. Then what happens into me when the stress going through, I go into either or. That means I have to leave Warwick. I can't live with this guy. I need a new house. I need a new kitchen where I'm peaceful. Imagine if all the married couple decided to do that. Whew, I don't know how you guys do it. But I started to think either or. I have to leave Warwick. I have to leave this guy. Divorce him. But then I took time off. I sat here, nothing happened. I sat in our chapel there, no. I went to somewhere else, sat there, allowed myself to engage in contemplative reality, allow every tension to arise. By paying attention, I found a third way, which is very simple, to be very honest conversation with my friend and telling him what I'm going through, how it irritates me, and how we can move forward. We found a third way. We're all created in the image and likeness of God. We can always find a third way. Amen.